this is getting so frustrating. How much more can we take? We're erupting like volcanoes, blowing ashes in our face. We need change. Like a baby, you hear the crying. We need change. Like a flat that's on your tire. Baby, we just need some air, a little bit of space, some time to think it over. Maybe that can help erase all the pain we've made. Let us change this hate, oh. Take a moment, think about why we always fighting. Man, we be so violent. Man and woman riot, how did we get started? Most of us don't even know. No. Take a moment, think about it. Why we always fighting. Man, we be so violent. Man and woman riot, how did we get started? Most of us don't even know. Don't even know.
It's time to mend this gap and get our love lives back. Most of us have come from a place of hurt and pain, but that's not the only way. There's still a chance to regain the trust we once had. A must. Let's pick up our hearts and grow onto a happily ever after we go.
Take a moment, think about it. Why we always fighting. Man, we be so violent. Man and woman riot, how did we get started? Most of us don't even know. Take a moment, think about it. Why we always fighting. Man, we be so violent. Man and woman riot, how did we get started? Most of us don't even know. Don't even know.
Peace and welcome. Shalom lekulam to everyone. Welcome to another segment of Love and Balance Talk Sessions. I know we've been a little absent these last few weeks, but we're going to make it up to you all. A lot of things been happening, a lot of busy matters from a few of us here on the panel, but we're here. Shalom, everyone. Peace to you all. You all there? I don't know if they hear me. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Welcome. So for those that's tuning in, you all, this is Bed Manzan Network presenting Love and Balance Talk Sessions by the beautiful panel. We have Mora Kayelia, we have Mora Daoud, we have Mora Tahura. I like to say Amma because I got to get that first name down. Forget it. And we got none other than my Isha Nasika Mona. Before we get started, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to open us up with a quick prayer. And the reason I'm going to do that is because this whole platform is speaking on love and balance, and it's for the community, right? It's for the so-called Black men and Black women, for us to come together in the communities to function properly. But how can you do that if you don't have the Most High first present? So I'm going to go ahead and open up with a quick one. Just give us a few moments and just tune in and let this marinate for those that's listening in. All right. Borenu abinu malpinu. Ani mabikesh she nabola kase shelka. Salakli alko salaklanu alko tumashahi pezidu khani wa nafshi. Our King, our Father, our Creator, I ask that we approach your throne. Please forgive us for any uncleanness, whether it be spiritual, physical, or mental. We thank you for another day of life. We thank you for letting everyone on the panel come on the panel so they can share what it is you put on their spirit to share to the people so that we can come before you properly and come before each other properly. We thank you for all the wisdom, all the love, all the compassion that you show with us through your word and through those that you send before with your word. We hope that we are in that midst of those group of individuals that's doing your will, and we give you all the glory, all the praise, and all the honor. Halueta Kochaniski, Halueta Makoaniski, Halueta Baleka Elion. Praise the eternal power, praise the eternal source, and praise supreme. All right, you all. Let's get it. All right, topic of discussion. is, and I changed it, because more Dawood was laughing at the title. It may still say it on YouTube, I'm not sure, but it's truth, an endangered speech. Truth, an endangered speech, or it was species. Did y'all see that when I put it up there? What y'all thought? Like, what in the world? An endangered species. What's y'all thoughts on the title?
It was super cute though. I liked it. Very creative. Very creative.
Told out. Told out.
It was all right.
All right. What about
I
you?
liked it. The play on words would make me giggle. Like it was funny. I liked it.
What about you, SD? Can y'all hear?
No.
Oh, I say it was creative.
Y'all still here or no? Hello? Yes? I mean,
We can hear her.
oh, okay. They said they hear you. All right. The reason that we, man, I'll tell you about people. When they type, they need to go ahead and mute everybody. It said all your keys, brother. Well, we go get started. We joke a lot, yeah. Anyway, truth isn't an endangered speech, right? Is it something that's being lost? Is going away? It's not there. You all know endangered species. It's the same sense, right? So, are we dealing with it properly within our community? Are we dealing with it? So, y'all ready? Y'all ready to get started? Let's go ahead and get started with the first one, with the first topic, or the first question. Are there any moments where married people should lie to one another? Are there any moments where married people should lie to one another? Why do you think it is done so often? That's the second part. Why do you think it's done so often in marriage when we are supposed to be closer to each other than anyone? Or some might say more than anyone, but you're not supposed to have more there. So why do you think it's done so often in marriage when we are supposed to be closer to each other than anyone? So first part of the question, are there any moments where married people should lie to one another?
I need to go.
You want to go now?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to, so they can really hear you clearly, I'm going to turn myself off. All right.
First, let me do a sound check. Can I be heard? Tobe. Okay. First, shalom lekulam, shalom panel, shalom everyone. Are there any moments where married people should lie to one another? I'm gonna just say no. I'm gonna say no. I've been married 2 years, going on 3, and I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot, and I have seen that if you are trying to make things worse, you can there's shortcuts. But if you want a peaceful home, even if there might be there's going to be ups and downs. That's marriage, friendships, whatever. But to be truthful is the best thing you could do with your spouse, significant other, husband or wife. When I say significant other, I mean for some people they're courting or they're in a relationship, maybe not married. That's what I mean. But I would say to be truthful. And the reason why I'll say that is because you never want the truth to get back to your spouse and you're the one that lied to them, but somebody else has to get that truth to them. That will be a small form or just a form of betrayal and deceit. And even if you had good intentions, your partner is not going to register that right off. If with friendships and things like that, you're going to be like, why would you lie to me? That's how it's going to come off. So to answer the first question, no. No means I don't think you should lie to your husband or your wife.
So why do you think it is done so often in marriage when we are supposed to be closer, right?
Mhm.
Cleave to your wife. Like, why is it done so often when they're supposed to be the closest person that you know, honestly?
I think it's done so often because the emphasis isn't put on man and woman before they're married, and even while they're married, that your husband or your wife is supposed to be your best friend. Everybody else comes first. And this is from things I've actually seen growing up. If you have a woman that's married and she has a lot of female friends, especially single female friends, a lot of times those things aren't emphasized to be truthful to your partner. And then sometimes secrets are held. It's just because a lot of, like, it's the influence, your circle, the people that you're around, and I'm not gonna say your upbringing, but your life right before getting married, what you were taught and what was instilled in you. Zehu.
All right. Who's next? Who's next? Are there any moments where married people should lie to one another?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'll go ahead. I don't think there are any moments where married couples should lie to each other. I think that there will be moments, due to different circumstances that may arise, and it wouldn't necessarily be like a terrible lie. You could be trying to protect your spouse from something or trying not to hurt their feelings, which is understandable. But I think that honesty is the best policy. Um, and to answer the second question, I kind of think it's done so often in marriage because people don't really trust or like each other enough. I think if I think if two people are in a marriage where they trust and respect each other, then lying wouldn't necessarily be an option or be something that you would want to do. So with like just lack of having that and then not having that connection, like Mona was saying, like you guys are supposed to be best friends. If you have like just to put it on like a relationship of two friends, like you wouldn't want to lie to your friend about anything. You want to be open and honest the entire time. If you feel like you have to lie about something, then there's like it's gonna create a whole issue for you guys. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah. I didn't say anything.
Let me pull it back up for you. I know you need it. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. You probably should read it too. On display. You should. Are there any moments when married people should lie to each other? The only moment I can think of is when the Ish gets paid and he pay the bills before he lets the Isha know the amount that he got paid. That way, he already take care of things before she spent the money up. Nah, I mean, outside of that, possibly, just that's a possible outlier. Outside of that, no. You should definitely be as truthful as you can with the person that you are supposed to be one with. Um, there, of course, as a quote spoke on, there are moments where that happens. Lapse of judgment, uh, fear of the emotional toll that it could take, depending on what it is. There are situations where your judgment can be off the mark, culturally speaking. So that's to me, those are situations of or reasons why it happens. It shouldn't happen. Of course, you want to tell the truth to everybody. Period. And not deceive anybody, honestly. But uh, it does happen. And why does it happen in marriages the most? I believe that was the second part of the question. You took it down. You said you was gonna have it up for me so I can remember the second part of the question. Um, why do you think it is done so often in marriage? Because that's the person that you speak to the most. It's kind of like when people say, well, black on black crime, it happens most. Black people kill black people the most. And it's, well, that's because that's who we're around the most. So we don't go outside of the city boundaries to go kill. That's typically who you're going to be around. So in a marriage, more than likely, you're going to communicate with your significant other or others opposed to anybody else in the world more. So you would lie to them probably more if you are prone to lying. So those are my takes on it.
I'm glad you said that last portion of that last part because I was having the eyebrow was going to rise up a little bit.
What the black on black crime?
No, about the line more. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful answer so far, everybody. Go ahead. Who's next? Who's next? I got something for y'all too. But who's next? All right.
So I can't think of any reason why one should or would need to lie to their significant other, to their spouse, especially if something has been cultivated in which it is a healthy relationship. There's definitely not any need to transgress in that way. I would call it a transgression of the covenant that you have made with another person. But I think that every answer has been very, very good as far as why do we think it happens so often. I think the biggest thing is fear, and that can go in many different ways. Like it's got many different layers and many different dynamics. Either fear of what the person may feel like if you've made a mistake and you don't, you're afraid of how the person is going to react, or maybe there is already a lack of trust within the relationship. But I think the biggest thing that it also comes down to is like a lack of authenticity within self. I think a lot of the times we don't trust ourselves, and we get into relationships a lot of the times not being secure within ourselves. And because we have that insecurity within ourselves, it tends to bleed into other parts of relationships, and we will tend to hide ourselves. We want to hide certain things about us. We want to hide certain aspects. And that, of course, will lead to deception, and that can lead to a lot of things that are very, very damaging in relationships. So I also think because we have a lack of understanding of what this not matrimony, but what this union covenant is, we have a great lack of understanding of it. We do not understand what it entails, what it takes. We have kind of grown up in a society that takes it very lightly. As we can kind of see, the divorce rates are like over 50% now. I think it's like 70%, something crazy. And because of that, it shows very clearly that we do not respect the covenant and the boundaries within the covenant. And because of that, I think people are just kind of willy-nilly. They're treating it like any other type of relationship, like a relationship at a job. Now, of course, you should be honest within all those spheres, but societally, I think we have been reared up in a way in which we don't respect the truth. We don't have any, we just don't have any standards morally for it. And I yield.
See, you and more Dawu brought something out. You just brought out the workforce.
Twin.
And then you said we should be truthful no matter what. He said something similar, but I was going to ask him, were you talking about only the topic since it's concerning marriage, or are you talking about everywhere? And that's a reason I brought that up. But I'm going to stop there. I'm going to come back to y'all too. But we're going to let Maura hear you if she has something. Bring it up.
Oh no, you can keep going. You're good.
No, it's okay. No, you got something? You got something more? No? Possibly? Maybe? Okay.
No, everybody covered. Keep going.
All right. So it's interesting you all brought that out. And I'm trying to see, do I want to bring that? I'm going to save it for the next one, but we moving real quick. It's like, man, we're going to be done by 9:00 Eastern. Goodness gracious. What happened to you? What happened to this break? Done slowed us down, huh? All the stuff that we used to have. But I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna say it on the second question. But I'm gonna bring something out, let y'all see something. Give me a second. Because you all touched on it. Let me share my screen. Where is it at? That's not it. That's it right there. Let me know if you all can see this. And then come up. They said it's sharing, man. I'll tell you about, man. Hold on, we're going to try this again. They said it's sharing, but it's not sharing.
Technologically deficient.
All right. I'm going to bring this over, and it might work when I bring it over because I got two screens, man. You know, trying to get my big boy pants on, like more of that wood. Here we go. Let's try it one more time. Let me know if you all see it. And if not, I'm just going to read it. Do you see it? All right, I'm just going to read it. All right, so it says, according to, oh, there it is. You see it? According to science, married people sometimes lie to each other. Now, I had a couple different stats that I was going to read, but it was just too long. And the percentage of the lies is crazy. It was like 116,000 lies in 80 consecutive days. I'm like, what? But it says, according to science, married people sometimes lie to each other to avoid conflict. You all said that. Protect their partner's feelings, maintain a positive image, or escape difficult situations, often driven by a desire to preserve the relationship and avoid causing pain. Even if the lie is considered a white lie intended to spare feelings, however, frequent lying can erode trust and damage relationships significantly. All right. So you all said that. You all said that. But I want to bring something out. I want to bring something out because we wouldn't be who we are if I didn't bring it out. A lot of people, you know, they go by the Bible, things like that. You wanted to say something. You wanted to rush me, didn't you? More that would. Let me land my plane. Leviticus 19 and 11. Do not steal. Do not lie. And do not deceive one another. I know that it has become a societal norm for us to do these things to our spouse, the person we're married to other individuals, but is that what we're supposed to do? According to our standards, according to our literature, according to how we operate, is that what we are supposed to do? I like that one of you all has said something about, I think it was more Zakaria said something about fear. And I think the fear, it said that the men lied more than the women, by the way, in the stats of that. And I would want to say one of the reasons is because, and the stuff they was lying about was like, oh, you look good. The dress looks nice on you, or your blah, 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 little stuff like that. Now people say, oh, that's white lie, that's innocent, but you still deceiving your wife. Or you deceiving your husband if you don't really feel that way. I want to make sure I say that part. If you don't really feel that way. Now, it might be some like, oh, man, that does look good. And then the other 10 people see it, like, what the heck? Or see him, like, man, that don't look good, but it looks good to you. But if you're deceiving, is that something that we're supposed to do? Now, more, you said that that's okay. Those little tiny ones. But those little tiny ones start to build up. And I believe when people start doing that too much, they start to bring in bigger things that they can lie about. What's y'all take on that? Do you think that when we add to those little ones, the little lies, the little deceptive ways that we bring on our spouse, that it can start coming into big things? Any thoughts on that? You got something? All right, I'm about to.
Kane, I believe it can lead to bigger lies just because, like we talked about, the lies don't always come from a place of, I mean, either way it's deceitful, but they don't always come from a place of hatred or malice. Sometimes they come from a place of good intentions. And if you see the response on your spouse that when you lie to them, it makes them feel good, you've already built up this, your conscience is going to talk to you like, if I tell them the truth, they're not going to be happy anymore. They're going to feel this type of way. So I believe that those lies will eventually build up to more because you'll have built a part part of the relationship on satisfying your partner, even if it means not telling the truth. And that can I believe it can lead to feeling good in the beginning. And then once it starts to pile on, your conscience is going to start eating at you. But I believe that it will eventually pile on because you get the satisfaction of your partner feeling good for you lying to them. Said who?
Go ahead, Mora. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Either one is fine. Yeah, I did say that it was okay. I did. Because when I think about myself, if I'm trying to avoid conflict, like little white lies, trying to avoid conflict, I'm a big conflict avoider, especially when it comes to like my spouse and somebody else, like family. I'll tend to spare like feelings. If I know some information that could potentially make my spouse's feelings hurt or make, somebody in my family's feelings hurt, I wouldn't share that unless it was detrimental. Um, so to be a bit more specific, that's kind of what I'm saying I believe is okay. However, like Amuna said, like if you as you continue to do that and as you continue he said, the law. Yes, the law does say that to not do that. And I agree that we should be following, like if you study Torah and you believe in the Most High Torah, then you should be following that. You should be doing that. You should be adamant about that. I'm not saying nobody should. And just to piggyback off of what Amuna said, Nasika Amuna said.
Ma'am?
What?
Ma'am?
What?
Ma?
What?
Oh my gosh, y'all.
Ma?
Leave my
Now I know why she said it. Now it makes sense. It makes sense now.
All right.
She said it so strong too, and to piggyback off my sister. Okay, we got you. We see who.
Listen, I don't eat the piggies back, but to land back off of what my sister is saying, for my my brother said, yes, if you continue to do it, it builds up, and you create a mess for yourself and for them. For instance, if your spouse, like if my partner was telling me, hey, you look beautiful, and he doesn't think I look beautiful. Like I wake up in the morning, I obviously look crusty, but you're telling me every morning that I look beautiful. So one day I just wake up one morning and I just go outside, and because my husband tells me I look beautiful all the time, and then people are stopping me on the road like, why do you look like that? Like, what's wrong with you? I just as an example, like there are like crazier examples, there are better examples, but just as an example, like your spouse and what they say means a lot. And you're trusting their word, you're going off of what they're saying, and you're taking it because that's your spouse. So if they're lying to you, whether it's little white lies, it's not completely true, it's important to be careful and mindful because, yeah, again, things can blow up. So I'm not telling y'all out there to be deceitful. No, be honest, be truthful.
She telling y'all to avoid Leviticus 19:11. So look,
No,
let me tell you something real quick. First of all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's why I said if you are deceiving, so you could say your husband or your wife looks a certain type of way. If you really believe it, then you're not deceiving them. But if you are deceiving, that's different. Now, I do want to say this real quick to touch on what you're saying more, Alma. I get it. I did this on purpose, but it's our job to try to bring a solution to it, right? So instead of hurting their feelings, like we're afraid to hurt their feelings, but we don't supposed to be afraid of anything. The Most High has put us in place for a reason, gave us these instructions and showed us how we should move so it can strengthen our belief in ourselves when we're presenting whatever. Your approach can be different, right? So our approach can be different. You know what? No, I don't really like that, but you know what it does? Whatever, however the approach is, right? Have you considered this? Or, man, that's nice. But what about, well, not nice. Some people gonna beat me up using the word nice if you know the etymology. But what about this? Just our approach. I think we are afraid. And we need to get away from that, because I think that if we continue in that goes into other areas. Like Ab has said, Elder Mattathias came on and he said a little leaven, right? Leaven's the whole lump. It's going to start building up. That residue, all that stuff is going to continue to build. We have to erase it. You know what I'm saying? We wonder why other areas or other subjects start to have that same effect from that other department of lying, them little white lies. But I ain't trying to tell y'all that's listening back or watching this right now what to do. I'm just trying to bring some thoughts out. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
I think my biggest thing is, if we are to cleave to one another, then you lying to your spouse is you ultimately lying to yourself. And I've had this conversation with my ish. It's like, can't trust nobody who's lying to themselves. Like, so if you're literally not authentic with yourself, what are you doing for me? Another thing, it breaks the trust in the marriage. It hinders the spiritual growth. Your home is where you are growing spiritually. So everything that we say to each other, how we deal with one another, we are first practicing Torah in our home. So it shouldn't be any lies or things that we wouldn't want to go out with anyone else doing in our home. And another thing, it also invites division, which is why a lot of our homes are divided, because we are deceiving one another. We're lying to one another. We're not truthful with ourselves and one another. And of course, we're also teaching this to our children because they're watching how we handle each other. So now that's how they're going to also handle one another. So I do think that we should not be lying, because if this is my best friend, why am I lying to my best friend? This is my safe place. This is who I'm coming to tell everything to. And we should have that mutual agreement with one another. And I do believe that people lie because of fear. Fear is the biggest thing. But ultimately, I think people lie because we're like in this age of people pleasing. And if we're pleasing people, then we're ultimately not pleasing the Most High. So when we're just constantly pleasing each other, then we're constantly lying, like kind of what Mora Amma was saying about, well, a little white lie is okay. It's not ultimately in the fact of, I want my friends to be honest with me. I want my husband to be honest with me. I want you to love me enough to say, that's not going to work. Not for you, because I'm going out into the streets, you know what I mean? And things like that. So I want you to be able to protect me. If I'm my strong defense for my sister, then I should be honest with my sister. And if my husband is my covering, then he should be honest to cover me righteously. And I think another big thing also with lying that we should watch out for is the fact of, we're not learning one another. So when you're lying, you've never got to really know that person. You're kind of sugarcoating, and they may not need that. Like I'm a very honest and direct person. And if you lie to me, that hurts me more than if you was to just tell me the truth. I can adjust to the truth. But for you to lie to me, it just goes bad, because now you have to keep on lying, cover that lie, remember that lie. It's a lot.
Amazing. I want to say this before somebody else come on. Understand this is a panel of diverse thinkers, and we're all teachers in our own right. Actually, I think everyone here is a teacher. But this is love and balance. A lot of what I've heard, more Amma brought out, and a lot of people bring out, and they love their family, they love their spouse, they love, and that's great, and I agree with it. So let's just try to bring that balance in there, and just, because a false balance is a what?
Abomination.
Abomination to who?
Yeah. to the Most High.
To the Most High, man. And that's what we're serving ultimately the most. Anyone else before we go forward? Did anyone else have anything?
Can I be heard? Because it's chopping up a little bit from
Now you
y'all.
loud. You loud. Go ahead. You loud.
All right. So, just to land back again off of everybody, um, I think that it is definitely detrimental because not only, as Nasika Amuna mentioned, your spouse kind of gets in the habit of hearing those lies. Sister Hora had me cracking up about going down the road and somebody stopping you. Like, I was cracking up. But for real, like, then the person gets comfortable, just believing and living a lie. And that's detrimental, to your loved ones. But also, the person telling the little white lies, like, you get used to lying. And it may seem like a small thing, but the more you do it, the more it's like a snowball effect. The more comfortable you are in it, so the greater lies that will begin to unfold. And I'm super big on that. Like, my children can't even tell a joke that's a lie. Because you can joke without lying. You're gonna have to figure something else out, boo. You're not gonna tell a joke that is an untruth. Okay. So for me, it's really big. And that's mainly, especially with them, because of the fact that they are young and they are learning not only themselves, but they are learning, the world around them and how we are to be set apart from the world. I don't want them to be comfortable saying something that is not true, whether or not it's funny or you didn't mean it or whatever the case may be. I want them to be extremely uncomfortable saying anything that is untrue ever. And that's not to say that they have to be blunt or rude, because I am also teaching them to be mannered. However, I want them to be able to speak the truth. Also, I want them to be able to say the things that the Most High is telling them to say when they get older. I want them to be able to say the things that they need to say in order to defend themselves when they get older. And all of that comes with a comfortability of truth telling, like continuous and constant truth telling and speaking the truth. I want them to be able to, if they are ever required by the Most High to speak a word of truth that is harsh to other people, that they can do that without compromising themselves. So for me, from that standard, even though I understand that we are talking about spouses and husbands and wives, but if I'm going to rear my children up in a certain way so that they are suitable husbands and wives, I want to start doing that now. I want them to be in the habit of saying, hey, baby, no, maybe we should switch outfits, like something along those lines. So that's not, they're not lying, but at the same time, they're able to express the truth not only to their significant others, but in whatever platform that they're going to need to in their future. So that's all I have to say about that. I yield.
Amazing. Go ahead, more. I'm more at.
No, that's okay. It's rude. It's rude.
Right.
I agree with the panel as a whole. I do kind of, like you said, want to break that. I believe, well, I know that some people lie because they don't have the ability to formulate the truth in a way where it can be received. So instead of being able to, yeah, like I did that, those words right there, that way, snap on it. Anyway, it's not important. Um, people is, it's like, it's much easier for the brain for them to just lie to somebody. It's like, okay, how do I tell her that I don't think that she need to go outside in this dress? If I say, no, baby, you don't look good, she gonna get upset. So now you have to think about how to deliver this. And some people would rather just say, yeah, you look good, and just kind of breeze past it. And I think that is a flaw in the mental development, as well as the development in the relationship as well, because now I need you to have the words for me, and some people just don't. Um, which goes back to the fear of not being able to communicate what it is that you need to.
All praises. I want to say I appreciate more Zakaria brought out the point about, even though it was off topic, it still was on topic, because that's actually, when I said what did who I gotta read it myself. Why do you think why do you think it is done so often in marriage when we are supposed to be closer to each other, basically, right? Because we've been doing it from the beginning. We've been taught to lie as children by people that was around us, our parents or our family members or TV or whatever. We've been taught from the beginning how to lie. We've been taught to be, as everyone is bringing out, be nice, make sure you don't hurt someone's feelings. We've been taught that, but we have not been, it hasn't been harped on with this right here. Do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another, right? And what's crazy is this topic goes deeper, but I wanted to start with the man and woman first, because everything is man and woman first, husband and wife first, right? So let's go ahead and get to the second topic. If anyone has or don't have anything else to say, we'll get to the second topic, because this first one, I'm telling you, it can go so much further. Especially like within our community, we have little things that's a little foreign to the so-called Black community as it pertains to religion, I guess you could say, because this do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another is not just the topics that we spoke on. It's covenants that you make with your wife or your husband that you can go against. You just deceive. You didn't give that person, you stole something from them, right? You didn't give them the opportunity to decide not to do X, Y, and Z. So you stole that from them. You lied to them, you deceived them, and you stole the opportunity from them for them to make a certain decision. That's another topic, but this right here applies specifically for marriage too. All right, let's get to it. Next topic. This one is kind of interesting. This one goes with, I can attach this to what more Dawood had brought out. But it says, are we deceptive when we amplify or exaggerate matters concerning us, about us, to our family and friends? I put neighbors for a reason, y'all. I put neighbors for a reason. Sidebar. So more Dawood, before we go with this question, when you had said be truthful to everyone, was that only for the subject of the marriage, or were you saying be truthful to everyone?
Be truthful to everyone, because you ain't married to everyone.
Stop. Here we go. So here's my question to you. Say if you and your wife, your Isha, is in the house.
Mm-hmm.
She's upstairs and somebody come in and they say, where's your family at? What are you going to tell them?
They where they at?
I like that. You know what I'm going to tell them? They ain't here. I'm going to tell them they're not here. These laws or these instructions, but we ain't going to go with that. I wanted to bring that out because I had a conversation with my grandmother about that before. She's like, you can't lie to anybody. I said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. This is dealing with your neighbor. This is dealing with your tribes. This is dealing with those that you are associated with. That's why I don't call everybody out. I know it's another topic, but because all this stuff is connected. So are we deceptive when we amplify or exaggerate matters concerning us to our family and friends, right? Are we being deceptive? If we amplify or exaggerate a situation, you're telling them a story about something and you're amplifying, you're making it more than what it actually is. Are we being deceptive to them? And if we are, can we be trusted if this is what we do? Did that make sense, or was that too much?
No, that makes sense.
All right.
And yes, absolutely. That's absolutely deceptive because it's not being truthful. So to bring it, I'm sorry, y'all gonna hear me talk about my children a lot. So even when I deal with my children, my daughter has a tendency to over exaggerate her feelings of being hurt or mistreated, or if something happens, she will go above and beyond. She's crying more than needs to be cried. The pain is just so unbearable to her, and I have to let her know that we do not exaggerate our level of hurt, that it is very important to be truthful about your level of hurt, because then I don't know whether or not I can trust you. And so I have these conversations with my children again, because it's very important to me to instill that level of truth within them. And so, I do understand that a lot of the times they will exaggerate because they want more attention, they want more love. There are many, many reasons why, little ones would do that. But I try to emphasize to her the importance, especially to her. My son used to do it, but he doesn't really do it as much because we've had these conversations. But I tried to emphasize to her the importance of being truthful, even when you are hurt, even when you feel like something, like you want something more. It's so important to be truthful about your level of hurt, because then the person can give you what you actually need. It's important in that factor, because if somebody is not able to distinguish or determine what it is that you actually need, you may end up receiving something that is not needed and something that is not actually beneficial. Now, not necessarily in this example, like all she's looking for is just a little extra attention, a few more cuddles, but in the sense of just being truthful in general, you could then receive something that is actually detrimental to you. Like, say, if you are exaggerating and you need to go to the hospital and you over there hooting and hollering and you now they didn't giving you an extra dose of medication that actually ends up injuring you somehow, or something, something along those lines. It can be very detrimental. So yes, it is deceptive. To answer the question, number one, it is absolutely deceptive, because at the end of the day, it is not true. Whether or not you're trying to exaggerate to make yourself look better, or to add emphasis or drama to the story, whatever it is, it's just not true. So it's automatically deceptive. And then, can we be trusted if we do this? No, it definitely breaks the barrier in trust. It makes it harder to trust, because even in that same sense, once again, with my daughter, this one time recently, when we were doing the rollout with Honor Him, she actually did get hurt, but I didn't believe she was as hurt as she actually was, because she exaggerates so much. So here I am thinking like, oh, you're all right, it's okay. Woo. Lo and behold, she actually did have like a slight little boo-boo on next to her eye. But I didn't know that, and I couldn't gauge that because there had been so many exaggerations in the past. So again, it's very hard to trust somebody if there's going to be exaggerations, if there's going to be anything that is outside of the realm of truth in any direction. It's very difficult to trust somebody after that. So that's a yield.
Told I. Anyone else? I know this is a broad question because it can touch everything, dealing with if you're talking with someone about your marriage, and you're coming for counseling and you only give them this portion, it's a lot of topics. So what's your thoughts on it? Let me bring it back up.
I think this can go so many ways. I mean, the spies definitely amplified and exaggerated what was happening in the land, and it did bring fear onto the people. So that's why I say it can go so many ways, because that was a bad thing, kind of hurt the faith of the people. It can also be a good thing if you are protecting your family.
Wait, Mora, don't leave that portion. What happened to all those people when they was deceptive and switched up the stories or made it worse than what it was? What happened?
Those people died because of that. It killed their faith, though. So
make sure y'all listen
yes.
to what she said. Go ahead.
So yeah, but that's why I was saying it could go both ways, because that definitely did hurt a whole generation because of the story that they brought back. And I was going to say that it can go a good way too, because it may save your family if you're protecting them, exaggerating a situation so that you may protect your family. So I think that there's wisdom in everything that we do. This is why we're talking about balance in how we do things, which is why in the Torah, it's constantly telling us not to deceive one another. This means you are consciously doing this. You know you are doing this. This is your speech. This is who you are, your character. But when it comes to balance, if it comes a moment where you do have to do it, we've seen it with our forefathers too. It's usually in a moment of wisdom or a way that we do it so that it's not that you are getting hurt, you're protecting your family, and that also you're preserving life. Most of the times is you're preserving life in a way. So hello, yeah, for that.
And also what she brought out, check it out. Y'all can't see me circling it, but I'm circling this neighbor's word. That deception normally is happening when it's not your neighbor, when it's not your kinsman, or when it's not your brother, your sisters, your all that. Well, it doesn't suppose to, I should say. The example that she brought out was done when it was not those people. I want to bring that up. Anyone else?
Sounds like in the Talmud where it says you can lie to those who are not a part of Israel and
Well,
deceive those
no,
who are not a part of
I'm not telling people to lie, man. I'm telling people in
This
the
is
situation.
sounds very more now it sounds like y'all on the same team. Look, we gonna lie to these Negroes. Listen, this is what we gonna do, and we gonna eat some of the piggyback. Oh,
Be
okay.
truthful. Be truthful. Be truthful. But in protection, it's wisdom, in my opinion. I really believe if it's life and death on your family, you have to be wise on your approach. But go ahead, man. I ain't speaking no Talmud stuff.
No, I mean, but that's the principle on that particular point comes from Tanakh, as in.
Well, hold on though. Don't the print. What's the Tanakh say about? We're about to go somewhere else, man.
It's all good. Let's go. Yeah. Huh?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. What happens when can you charge usury to your neighbor, to your brother, to your sister?
Low, you cannot.
Can you do it to someone that's not Israelite?
You can do it to the stranger who is of a certain category of stranger. Yes.
Okay, I rest my case. Go ahead and continue.
No, you which is why I said that it comes from Tanakh. When we're talking about, because the question is in regards to family and your neighbor, right? Like love your neighbor as yourself, which is those of your clan, those of your community. So amplifying and exaggerating matters. My thought, I was because I just go back through Tanakh and try to see our people then matching our people now. And when we talk now, we are very we can tell a story very, very well, and may not be the exact details, and we will amplify, we will exaggerate things. Man, I was fighting and I got jumped by like 10 dudes, and I was hitting one of them, and I punched one in the face, then one of them got me, and I was holding on to his leg. So it's like we will tell a story, and it was only 3 dudes, but he wants to amplify it to you. So would that be a harmful deception, or more of him telling the story and he just wanted to let you know that it was rough out there? So it's kind of like
is that a question, or is that a what's the word?
A justification?
No. Was that a real question? Was that a real question?
Yeah, it's a real question, because our people, we talk like this all the time. Like this is just a part of our cultural vernacular, in a sense. Like it's just a custom in how we speak. So it's like you gotta let me come back. I'm gonna go through Tanakh and see if
is it possible that we made that normal and that wasn't how we were supposed to be as the remnant of a remnant? Did we make that normal for the masses? That's my question. I gotta do my more Daoud.
Well, we did. I mean, we. Oh, go ahead. She wiping her eye. Go ahead, Nicole. Let me think it too.
No, I didn't mean to cut y'all off. I was gonna just tap in and give like some instances. Can you bring the question back up real quick? Are we deceptive when we amplify or exaggerate matters concerning us to our family and friends? I want to say, in certain instances, I would say it is a form of being deceptive if you're not telling the truth. But when we go back, like, and I want us to look like through history, like in slavery times, like somebody mentioned in the comments, they were talking about slavery and, how we were, telling little white lies on each other to our masters. And I want to bring out that we were also telling and being, I guess, deceptive to one another because we were trying to protect each other from our masters. There's like, I think, like Sister Kailia said, yes, like she said, there it can be it can be taken many ways. And I don't want to just highlight that we should be deceptive, but I want us to at least, well, I want to at least acknowledge where someone is not fully telling the truth, but their intentions is not necessarily to be deceptive, even though they are being deceptive based on the terminology and what it means. But their intention is not to, like, harm. Like, I won't say it's not always to harm someone by lying. So if I'm being deceptive to my Ema, for instance, since we're talking specifically about family and neighbors, if I was to ever, I'm not deceptive to my Ema, but when I think about instances of when I, you guys, of when I think about instances of when I'm being not so truthful, or I'm trying to, it's really not a good way to put this, because all in all, you will intentionally end up lying to someone. And I think when you guys are talking about the way that you say something to someone is important, yes, you can do that. But I do think that intention matters in what you're trying to do. Because I did read that law as well in the Torah, and we all have different Torahs, and we get different definitions or words, whatever, however they like to put it in our Torahs. And so I did not get that, do not lie. I got something else. And so I was going to also ask, what is the definition? What is the Hebrew word for lie? So that just so that we can have like even deeper understanding of exactly what it is, But either way, I just wanted to bring that point. Like, what is your intentions behind what you're doing to not tell the full truth to someone, in your family or to your friends or to your neighbors? And I think depending on your intention, it can determine whether or not you're being trusted or you can be trusted in the future. So I guess I'm kind of making a statement, kind of asking a question. That was a lot of words, but yeah.
Well, to answer the one question you asked, the word for lie in Hebrew is shakar. That's the word for lie. And the word that's used here in Leviticus 19:11 for lie is shakar. And that is, Go ahead.
Can you say that word again?
Shakar.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know why I do this when I say Hebrew words, but go ahead.
Because you writing in your mind. So that's not the word that I got for lie. The word I got, well, so that one is translated as lie, but the Hebrew word that kind of matches it, which is the one that's still for the other one is
Kakash.
Yeah, Kang.
Yeah,
Kakash. Now,
Sakar is next, is a word after that. It's lie. One is dealing with to deceive. I mean, they both similar. Yeah. And so what's crazy, y'all just made it worse. You want to know why? Because in that verse, they gave you two different words to amplify how important you shouldn't be lying. They gave you a different word dealing with kakash, and then they got shakar, right? So to deceive, to disappoint, become an experience. All right, we'll get away from that. But do y'all homework on that on your own, Leviticus 19:11, and then you'll see those two words are being used. One dealing with do not steal, one dealing with do not lie, and one dealing with do not deceive. All right. It was something I was going to say and I forgot. Is there anyone else that has anything else for this particular topic? I know we got a couple people that didn't speak. Did you speak already? Did you have anything? Pull it back up. Pull it back up. All right. Are we deceptive when we amplify or exaggerate matters concerning us to our family and friends? All right.
Are we deceptive? Consciously, I don't think a lot of times we are, because I think all of us on this panel know somebody who we feel like exaggerated a story a little more than it was. If we were to be truthful, a lot of us can attest and be like, I wasn't there, but I'm pretty sure it didn't happen that way. And not just that, but then have family members that can attest and be like, they'll put you to the side. Yeah, it happened, but not exactly like that. And the interesting thing is, we were watching something recently, and there was a person talking about memories, and they were saying a memory isn't you're only remembering from what you remember. Like, your memories become trickling effects of more memories. So they're saying you're only remembering from what you remember, not from exactly what happened. So we could have an event that happened and everybody remembers, but we all might remember something differently. So to say that we're being deceptive, a lot of people are when they're just blatantly lying, but some of us really believe that's the way it happened. Because there are times, like, I'll recall memories when I was like 5, 6, and 7. And in reality, when I'm told what really happened, I'm like, but I remembered it this way. But my parents will be like, no, this is what happened. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't purposely being deceptive. I was only going off what I recalled. So I believe that amplifying or exaggerating can come from a perspective of what you remember. And then when it comes to exaggerating and you're lying, I believe it's to make your, of course, pride or ego, or you just want to sound like the bigger person in the picture. Because I can recall family members or even other people exaggerating a story, and I was there, and I was like, it didn't happen that way. This is actually what happened, but you know where they're coming from when they do it. Doesn't make them right. But I think a lot of times, if you are a person that's dealt with being put down a lot, you want to remember yourself or explain something to your benefit, if that makes sense. And can we be trusted if we do this? I don't want to say it's a 50-50 thing, but it's one of those things where, you don't want that person to be the person if they had to describe what anybody looked like. I would just say that who to trust. Like, the person they had a great car, and they was like, no, you might want to ask somebody else because they have a rep of not telling the full truth or not remembering correctly. So like I said, I don't believe it's always from a deceptive point of view. Some people just don't have a good way to recall things. So
All right. Appreciate bringing that out. I want to say this though, you all. I want to bring this out. Let me bring this out. So it's a difference, you all, with perspective and exaggeration. So exaggeration That's why I put amplify or exaggerate. I made sure I put exaggerate. Exaggerate means to represent something as being larger, better, or worse than it really is. So that means you're doing it on purpose. You're exaggerating something. A lot of times we use words today and is not what the word is meaning. So if you're exaggerating something, you're literally doing it on purpose. You're doing it for the reason to make yourself look a certain type of way, whether it be bigger, better, or to bring it down more because you don't want that to be on you. So you're exaggerating something on purpose. So if you are exaggerating, then that's a form from the definition of the word of being deceptive. Now, perspective is like what my Ishai brought out. That's how you had saw it, and you were sincere and genuinely saw it that way because it's how you remembered it. I rock with that. But exaggeration is different. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, that's pretty right and exact. No, I wasn't gonna say too much. That's definitely right and exact in terms of perception is not. Yeah, perception is not on purpose, and people exaggerate to. It's for a reason. Like the definition of deceive, kind of just it doesn't leave any wiggle room. It's either you're being truthful or you're not being truthful. Now the reason behind you being untruthful may be whatever, but the command or the mitzvah is it is what it is, and it kind of leaves you kind of stuck to where you can't go nowhere other than to just be truthful.
Okay, even if you are, and we're just speaking from the Tanakh standpoint. I know the perspective. I understand how we might view script and all that, but I say do your study, do your meditation, do your praying. Deception is just deception. Like More Zakaria brought out her children, and you have children that do stuff on purpose, but then you have children that do something because this is what they learned from other children or seen, and now it's within them because that's what they're seeing, what they're used to. They're still being deceptive, and they may not even understand that they're doing it. That's why it's our job to have these conversations, kind of provoke thought, bring these things out, because sometimes we're doing stuff we didn't know it. We were serving other deities or serving the Most High in the wrong way, and we didn't know we was doing it. You know what I'm saying? And it was just within us. But anyway, any other thoughts on this before we go to the last topic, you all? And before we go to the last topic, I'm gonna bring something out, and I want y'all thoughts on what I'm about to bring out. I'll just bring it out first. Here we go. Psalms 52:2 says, "Your tongue devises destruction, like a sharp razor working deceit. You loved evil more than good, lying more than speaking righteousness. You loved all devouring words, O tongue of deceit." What's y'all thoughts on that? What's y'all thoughts on this? No thoughts?
Yeah. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay. It sounds like it's speaking specifically about someone that is a liar, and likes to lie and likes to deceive people. And I think that it's a reminder for us to not be deceitful and to do our best not to lie, or just not to lie at all. By being honest and being truthful, it helps you in the end. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Just a reminder, like, I think one of you mentioned continuously lying leads to you getting comfortable lying. And then it's not just these little lies, they become larger and they extend. And I have a different view about when and where a person can lie. But overall, I do think that it's not a good thing to habitually lie. And that though that psalm is an example of what happens most likely if you continue to lie, and how it can turn into an evil person, an evil thing.
Okay. I had to take a little second to kind of look at something. I love words, even though I'm not a teacher of Ibrik like Nasik Shema. I do love the language, and the word there. One of the words used, I believe, is for uh, deceitfully in verse 2. It's the word uh, remia, remia, which means, it does mean deceit, it does mean treachery, but it also means lackness, or to be lax, or to slack, or to be slacking. So it's like you think about that, and it's like kind of being just careless with your words. So because you are careless, because you are, lazy when it comes to thinking about what you need to say before you say it, you now deceive people because you put no thought into it. Which goes back to what I was saying earlier about just not having the ability to communicate it. And because you can't communicate what you're really trying to say, or something that would be of truth, you just throw anything out there. And if it's like, well, either you get it or you don't get it. So even the language is trying to tell you that the more you lie, kind of what sis Morad just said, the more you lie, the more comfortable you get, the more lax you get in doing it. The more you begin to slack off in trying to walk this narrow road. And so that's kind of what I get from it.
You begin to get lazy. I remember when I first started doing the Hebrew, and like me and Moetan started doing it, and we brought out something different, like the pronunciation that a lot of people within our community, those that know Hebrew, was like, what are y'all doing? And one of the guys he called me, and he had Rudolph Windsor. Y'all remember him? Rudolph Windsor? Okay. His brother, I guess they speak Hebrew. They speak it fluently, from what I know. And the guy got on the phone with me, and he started asking me, okay, so he started asking me how to pronounce vowel points. And I pronounced it. And he told the person that called me, he said, the way that they're teaching is, because he said, me and Moritha, they're right. But we have became what? Lazy. Lack in our pronunciation. The way they're pronouncing it is how you actually read it in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew. But we just got lazy in our speech. We got accustomed to it. We began to just do it. Became natural, became normal. And it wasn't to harm, but it just became that way because that's just what it became with the people. So I'm glad that he brought that out, and I'm glad like you had a look to that too, more. And I think everyone in here that's watching and those that's watching back, especially when we go into the script, go into the words. I'm looking at it right now. He brought it out. It's lackness, slackness, slackening, deceit, treachery, being idle. So you're not it's no growth. You're not moving and trying to grow in what you're bringing out and speaking. So it's interesting, slothful, deceit. All right, you all. Anyone have anything else to say with what we brought out? Okay, more Zakari.
I do. I thought that was so interesting because as Moray, sorry, that was really accidental, I promise. As he was speaking about the lack, it seems like a lot of the times deception is like a lack of trust in Yahuwah, in the Father. Because when you are truthful, you kind of have to depend on him to like make it do what it do. Like if I tell the truth about this, it just is what it is, and you have to have that trust. You have to have that amunah. You have to have that confidence in the Father to restore things. I know a lot of people, it's difficult for them to have that trust in the father, and so then they lean more so on control, and that's where manipulation and deceit comes in, because they are trying to control or manipulate a situation or a circumstance to their favor, and it lacks trust in the father for the father to do what he needs to do, and for the outcome of the perfect will of the father to be made manifold or to be made actualized. And so when we say, you know, this word means to lack, it's really lack of trust in the father. You see so many people that are trying to manipulate and deceive and corrupt their situation to their favor, and they lack accountability, so that they are not the ones, I'm not the one who did this, or they want to place the blame on other people rather than accepting the accountability. So it's like a lack of trust, it's a lack of accountability, it's a lack of a lot of things that I think come into play there. So I thought that was really interesting, because I feel like we can delve deeper into that as well.
I got one last example. Who remembers the story? And I know you all do, but this is for those that's watching. I said watching it, y'all. For those that's watching, yeah, I made up a whole different word. Who remember the story of Eli and Shemuel? Okay. Who remember the sons of Eli? Right? Eli was the man, and he got messed up because he just did not. That truth was it was endangered speech for him. He didn't step up to his sons and correct them. Just because he wasn't truthful to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta stay in, and because if we're not truthful, something can happen. If we believe in the literature, especially if we are the people of the Most High as we believe it, we have to move as such to the best. A lot of people say to the best of our abilities. I say we have to do it. We got to do it. Go ahead, more though. What you about to say?
Okay,
Correct me or something.
No. I'm actually tracking with you where you walking at. Because even with the high priest Eli and his sons, he became lax. I just want to make sure that y'all. I was saying lax, like LAX, like laxative. Easy flowing. Starting to make sense. Anyway, so he became lax, which then. Now I'm saying that.
Bro, how do you deal with him, boy? Dang.
I was saying that is.
I don't know if they caught you though. That's crazy.
Okay, all right. Well, don't worry about it. If they didn't catch it, it won't for them. Anyway, he became lax, and that deceived his sons into thinking that what they were doing was correct. So to kind of bring it to today in 2024 or secular year 2025, whatever. Are we, and it's a question, are we deceiving others into thinking that what they're doing is correct when we don't speak up?
The answer is yes. We won't wear that hat though. We won't wear that hat, whether it's because we don't know, we might be ignorant to it, or whether it's because we, as most of us, myself included, at a certain point, we are. I don't know. Go ahead. I think that we are. That's my answer to your question. And that's why I brought this topic up.
No. Oh, y'all. Nasheen, y'all good? Segula, y'all good? Okay. All right. I'll keep talking. Yeah. So it's more like, and even the fact that you couldn't find a reason why we don't do it. Like, now you look on any social media platform, you go to different communities, and there are things that are just blatantly wrong when it comes to Tanakh. We're not even going into the Brick Cottage Shah because that's college in a sense. But just on the foundational basis of Torah, things are done cyclically. The things are done completely in contradiction to the Tanakh, but we just won't say anything because everybody, got their own halakha or the way that they walk it out. Just like, that's not the way that it should be, because we are deceiving the youth that are coming, right? So we were talking about the babies and Mora Zakaria was talking about her children and so on and so forth, right? It's like we have the children growing up in this environment where two things that are completely opposite of each other are being taught, and both are being called the truth, and nobody's saying anything about either side or the side that's incorrect. So then we are creating an environment of deception when we're supposed to be walking with the truth. All because we don't want to say anything, just like the high priest Eli, because those were his sons. So because we are close to these people, right, we are allowing them to walk in a cloud. So we can some people amplify and they exaggerate, and then there are those who just they minimize the truth, which is still deception when it comes to family and neighbors, as you put in the question. So I think that we as a community have to do better with not deceiving others into thinking that what they're doing is right just because we don't want any conflict.
All right. For those that's tuning in, I haven't said it all this whole time we've been on. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Make sure that you like, make sure that you share. Please do so. We're just getting started again. We came back. It's going to be more topics. Some going to be comfortable, some going to be uncomfortable, but the whole ultimate goal is for us to bring love and balance within our so-called Black community. And as Benay said. All right, we have one last question, and I hope that it makes sense. It's interesting because Mora Kuyelia brought this up earlier. And I was like, man, look at her. She brought this up. Did you have anything? Is she here? Okay. She brought this out, and I had this as a third question. Well, you said something similar, maybe not verbatim. Are we a people of yes men and yes women? That's the question. Are we a people of yes men and yes women? You all know the term, you know what it means. Where do you think the preference of only wanting to hear good news comes from? Or maybe I should have said came from. I feel like they both make sense. Maybe they don't. Are we a people of yes men and yes women? Where do you think the preference of only wanting to hear good news comes from? I'll keep that up, let that marinate in y'all spirit. Man.
Y'all gonna talk during this segment. I just want to let y'all know right now, we will not have any I pass on this one. You can't pass on the last one. That's not how that works. You have caught the potato.
I was letting it marinate like he said. I can say something right now, though. Are we ready?
Nahnu mukhanim.
All right. Yes, we are absolutely a people of yes men and yes women because, as scripture has said, we've always had itching ears. We want to hear things that make us feel good. We don't want to hear hard truths. We don't want to hear what we've done wrong. We don't want to hear reproof or rebuke. We've always had itching ears. And we see several times, even in scripture, for example, when Ahab was trying to ask, think it was Jehoshaphat, to fight with him, and he was like, hey, yeah, go get the prophets. Yeah, let me hear what the Most High's got to say. And so Ahab went and gathered all the fake prophets of Baal and all of these things. And Jehoshaphat was like, all right, well, do you have a prophet of Yahuwah in the midst? Because I see all these people, they not really for the Father. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, it's this one guy, but I don't ever ask him because I don't like what he has to say. He doesn't ever prophesy good for me. He always prophesies evil. So it's a reoccurring theme for us as a people. It's very reoccurring. People want to feel good, and it's understandable, but at the same time, it's a heavy reliance upon emotions. We are a very emotional people, but we've misplaced those emotions. We've misplaced that desire for emotion, and instead of gearing it towards the zeal of the Father and honesty and truth and wanting to be better, we would rather be lax and just complacent with hearing what it is that we want to hear, rather than being in a position of growth. And again, yes, we absolutely are a people of yes men. And I think that even leads to today. I know it's really annoying to hear people talk about like narcissism and like all these like it words now. But when you look up like the dynamic of the narcissists and things like that, they have things around, or people rather around them, called the flying monkeys. These are the yes men. These are the people that support them or don't rebuke them or reprove them because it's uncomfortable or because it's unbeneficial or because they want to maintain a certain level of a relationship with them, and they know that if they speak against them in some way, then they are going to be chastised or ousted or scrutinized or criticized in some way, and they are afraid of that. So I think a lot of it, again, is based off of fear. A lot of it is people being afraid to say something or go against something because it is scary and it is lonely. And a lot of the times, if you're coming against something that is of the norm or something that is outside of people's comfortabilities, you're going to be alone in it, and people don't want to be alone. But we have to learn that aloneness is where you become one and closer with the Father, if it's in truth, right? And that is how you build up your relationship with Father. That's how you build up your relationship and your amunah in the Father, trusting in him, because now you don't have anybody to back you. There is nobody that's on your team. There is nobody that's on your side. Everybody is quote unquote against you, but you have the Father, and you have to learn to lean and trust on the Father. And I've been in that predicament. I've been in that experience of which I had to stand up and defend somebody and say something that was against what everybody else wanted to hear. And it is scary, but at the same time, if we want to live in righteousness, you got to be tried through the fire, and the Father's going to test you in that. And you got to want it. You really got to want and love truth. You really got to want it. So I yield.
I built up my amunah even so much so that it's right here. Sorry. I'm sorry. I had
to. That was cheesy.
I had to do it. It was very cheesy. I know it was very cheesy.
He saw it going.
I love it though. No, it was an awesome door. Hello, yeah. Since I'm unmuted, I wanted to read a scripture that kind of sums up everything that we were talking about, and then just add to it. And that was Isaiah 39-11. And it says that this is a rebellious people, lying children. This is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of Yahuwah, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, because the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Sorry if I pull that from what you were already going to put up.
I had it,
but it was there.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that when I'm like, oh, all of this kind of leads up to that. This is literally the rebellious of us. And when we're talking about this walk, and Zakaria hit it right on the nail, everything that she said, we don't want to do the spiritual work of constantly renewing our minds, constantly walking in the ways of the Creator. This is an everyday thing that we literally have to do, watching our words, thinking about everything we do, thinking about everything we say. So that process is so hard for us. So a lot of times we do get lax, and we're just like, just tell us nice things. I don't have time to think about the good stuff right now, the bad stuff right now, and what I got to change. I'm comfortable. So definitely, yeah, this is why we are people pleasers instead of Yah pleasers, because pleasing Yah it takes work.
Amen. Look at her. Ain't she nice?
You know what's crazy?
Oh, my fault.
Go ahead. Hit the high note. Hit the high note.
I was going to go there. I was going to try to get there.
My bad.
No, it was you cut off right on the takeoff. I was in it, and then it was done. But go ahead.
It's
No,
for the best.
I wanted to say, look, I feel like it's harder. I think, right? It's harder to please people than to please the Most High. If you really think about it, like I'm not going against what you said. I want to make it clear. Those that's watching this panel, we have diverse thoughts, all teachers, and all got some great wisdom and words, and thought we put it together and we giving it to you all. I love what she said, but what she said, or in addition to what she said, when you say "but," you throw it away. In addition to what she said, it made me think of what if it's harder to please people than it is to please the Most High. I pass the mic.
It is though, because people change. So because of emotions and because of the roller coaster that is man, as Joanna just put in the chat, man in flesh cannot be satisfied because his appetite changes from day to day. You don't eat the same thing every day because you want something else. The Most High doesn't change. What he put in the Torah that would have satisfied and would have satisfied the criteria to walk as a righteous man or woman of the Most High is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. So it most certainly is harder to please man than it is to please the Most High. And what I was going to say is that one of the reasons why we have a community of yes men and yes women is because that's the mindset that we have taken on in this society. This society is do as thou wilt. So if you want to get married to a dog, you can get married to a dog. I seen somebody turn themselves into a cat. They gave it up after a couple months because they said it was hard working on all fours. Go figure, like, hey, it's hard for a man to walk on all fours. Huh. Never would have thought of that after you spent a couple 10,000s. Stupid. Anyway, but you are able to do whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to be a man today and a woman tomorrow, you can do it. If you want to marry the same gender as yourself, you can do it. They said we got 26 genders now. Torah says 2. But hey, we live in a society where it is do what you want to do, and nobody can tell you that what you're doing is wrong. And because we have decided to take that culture and then bring it into this culture, we're doing the exact same thing from a macro down to a micro when it comes to this community that we say that we're part of. People are doing whatever they want to do. You want to beat your wife? Go ahead. It's your property, ain't it? These. You want to? Yeah. Property. I'm so sorry, Cole. I didn't know you didn't get the memo that they was telling you that y'all was property now. It's amazing. Y'all said y'all as heir. People say y'all property. Which one you gonna take? But hey, if you wanna work on Shabbat, you gotta eat. Hey, my brother, gotta do what you gotta do. Not, hey, look, we're gonna pray. We're gonna try to work this out. People have become so lax, since that's the term, right? They have become so just that ain't my problem. When everybody takes their hands off of the problem and says it's not theirs, it just remains there because nobody takes ownership over it. So we have a community of nonsense that we're trying to now give back to the Father. So going back to what Nasik said about pleasing the Father, we're taking nonsense that we have created because of our disassociation with reality. And now we're trying to give it to the Most High and say, look, we accept everything, right? That's the way of the land now. So Most High, you should accept anything that we give you now too. And it just don't work like that, but nobody's going to say anything because who wants to be the bad guy, right? Who wants to be the bad guy? I want to be the bad guy. I most definitely volunteer. I volunteer. You don't have to pay me anything. I bother people for fun. So you don't have to pay me anything. That is my job. So we just need more people to want to take on that responsibility of, look, Elijah, he went against what, 700? He said, look, I don't care. I don't care. So we just need some more people who don't care about your face and about what you got to say about the truth. The truth gonna stand. Man, I yield for the time being.
I think I heard this from I don't know who I heard it from. I think it was Dr. Kenneth Howard. I think. But I like to give credit to people when I hear stuff, and if I start using it, I always refer to them. I don't want to be that person that be like, I came up with this. But it was something he brought out. I think it was him. Why is Shah tell me? When he talked about he said that Cain and Abel both came with their
Minka, the
offering, and only one was accepted. I added to that because I did a lesson last week. Check it out if y'all haven't. That the Most High wants us to be perfect and perfect. And when I tell people that, they be like, whoa. And those perfect is Tamim and Shalem. Watch the lesson, y'all see what I'm talking about. I believe that the offering that was accepted was because he operated in Tamim and Shalem. And what we're dealing with right now, or what we're talking about, these things that we're going over, we're stuck in what we have learned here, even probably before we got here as well. You know what I'm saying? And the Most High is trying to bring us to be these things that we're talking about, not deceive each other, not steal from each other, spiritually, mentally, physically, not lie to each other, be perfect, be perfect. You can be perfect. It says it in every literature that we have. But we run away from it because we don't believe we can, because it's been pushed on us. But I'm going to believe what the Most High says. And I'm encouraging, the reason we're having this conversation is to encourage, to prick your mind, to make you think, even if you're against it right now, maybe it'll, grow a little later, or maybe it won't. But study more, man, and just come back to the culture. Like, we can do these things that we're going over. We don't have to lie at all. We don't. I know what the scripture says. I know it talks about how we be using the scripture saying man is liar, and just like we say, man is but a filthy rag, blah, blah. I put that in a lesson too. That's out of context. Most of these things that we're these sound bites that we're using, it's out of context, and we don't even know it.
Because it justifies my desire to not be perfect. So I'm going to use it. You say, hey, there is no man righteous, no, not one. The Most High looked all over. Our righteousness is as but filthy rags.
Wait a minute, stop. So he went to Psalms 14, then he went to Isaiah. But if you go to Psalms 14, you go down to the rest 4 verses down, it says, and they came against my righteousness. Oh, and then in Isaiah, when it talks about but a filthy rag, you got to read the chapter before and then go through it. It's not talking about everyone's righteousness. I did a lesson last week called Most High wants us to be perfect and perfect. I'm not trying to get you to see it, but if you want to see it, learn from it. If you can, pick from it throughout the bones. The Most High is telling us what we can do, y'all. We don't have to lie. We don't have to deceive. We don't have to do any of that. All of these things are choices. More Alma brought out that in a sense too. Like, we're choosing because we care, and it's good to care. It's ways to care too that we can add. So with that, I don't want to overtalk. I'm just trying to bring this out, y'all. Any more thoughts on this topic? I know we have a few more people left, and then I'm gonna close us out. We're reading something for the people. Okay, my Isha told me bring it back up. She ain't gonna bring it back up. No, she asked. He didn't. Oh, I hold on, I'm about to pull it out for you.
Um, I'll go ahead and just say
Oh.
it. I guess. Oh no, Who- go ahead.
Oh, she. Go ahead.
I didn't know you were talking. Were you?
But you go ahead, Nasika Moonlight. You go ahead, girl.
Okay. I actually don't have a lot to say to this, but Kane, yes. Are we a people of yes men and yes women? Kane. But to be fair and balanced, it just depends. Because there are a lot of us who will keep up our dukes, for the things we will not bow down to. But then when it comes to just certain situations, it's an automatic yes. And we succumb to a lot of things because of the pressure. We hear it all the time, peer pressure. You have peer pressure even when you're adult. And like everybody went back to our foundation, went to the literature. That's one of our flaws. And I was talking about this, I think, with my sister. And I think it might have been my Ish, where we're an assimilative people. We assimilate to everything. If they told us that salt and pepper was the trend to just pour it on your head, our people would be doing it. We know too. You can't blame TikTok. It's the attitudes and the mindsets of the people. We assimilate to everything, even the most foolish things. And this is one of the flaws that we have to literally fast and purge out of us, because a lot of these things, like even the literature that my Ish read about in Tehillim and Psalms, a lot of these things are rooted in us, and we have to get them out, because a lot of us come from brokenness on top of brokenness, on top of breaking the commandments, on top of idolatry, on top of so many things. So we have a lot of things that are already bred and spoken on us at a young age before we were born that we just have to get out. And I believe that it's a perfect opportunity to strive to be perfect now that we have the blueprint on how to do so. And I'm learning there's empowerment in not being a yes person, especially when it's to the benefit of your family and of your stance and of your household. Not being a yes person allows people to respect you. If you become a floor mat for everybody, no matter what religion you are, you're never going to be taken seriously. Never taken seriously. And our literature tells us to be strong and courageous. If we were called to be yes people, we would have never had to have these affirmations continually put in us, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to stand up for what is right. Just a very little bit about my background. I was homeschooled all of my school years, kindergarten to 12th grade. I did not ever, except for a certain amount of family members, and that I can count that on one hand, and not even a full hand of how many times I slept over somebody's house. A lot of people were disgruntled, or they never agreed with how my parents did with me and my siblings, even at a young age from our teenage years. But it wasn't the norm. Me and my sister, we did not wear makeup until our 20s. We did not even wear what color lip gloss until our 20s. There was a certain way we had to carry ourselves. There was a certain way that our parents, our horim, instilled in us, and it was not the norm. We didn't do no boyfriends. I never had no boyfriend. None of those things like that. But we were always looked at as if we were doing something wrong.
I'm your boyfriend.
Oh my goodness gracious. You're Ish Gadol. You're Ish Gadol. But it was those things that made us look like outcasts. But we had to be strong in that, because that pressure started to come on me and my siblings, and we was like, wait a minute, are we doing the right thing? We're getting outcast for this. We won't have friends if we do this. We won't have this. But in the end, it is empowering to stand up for what is righteous. And I'm not saying that everybody we encountered was unrighteous. I'm just using that as an example of what the eternal source, of what the Most High is requiring us to do. And that takes a lot of strength and courage. It really does. And what was the second question? And I'll be quick. Where do you think the preference of only wanting to hear good news comes from? I believe, like I said, it comes from not just our grandma and them, grandpa and them. That is in our bloodline. That's in our ancestors' ancestors. The literature just proves it. Like I said, if they had a trend to tell us to do everything right, unrighteous, we're gonna do it. That's why there's been a lack of righteousness and an overload of unrighteousness. These artists are coming out, y'all, by the wazoo. And I'm like, where did they come from? Don't have any talent, but it's out here. It's popular. It's booming. The children love it. I'm gonna just say I don't like it. It's terrible to me. But the children love it, so it's deeply rooted in us, and we have to uproot it. And before I go, I will say one of the simplest but most challenging things to do is fast, and now to get some of that stuff up out of there. Zehu.
Snappy fingers, snappy fingers. More Amma, you had something. You were saying something. We were switching volume, so we didn't even hear you was talking. Forgive us.
Well, that's okay. I don't have I kind of lost it. I am tired, y'all. But I will say I do think that we are a people of yes men and yes women. That is not the only thing we have. There are so many people that are no, and that, fight against the system and the norm, coming from, a family of people that are constantly saying no, 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 no. I had to see, as I got older, just how, I don't like, I don't want to call it cult, but just how cultish society can be by wanting to just, yep, what you said was right. What you're doing is right. All of this. So learning that and realizing that, I'm like, okay, yeah. Like even within our community, yeah. Like we say yes to a whole bunch of things that are not okay. A bunch of Cain men, Cain women. But
Oh, she's okay, okay. We ain't lying though. He loves the caca.
Huh?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Keep going.
Oh.
I say you're not lying in Hebrew.
Okay. For the second part, like where it comes from, I think it comes from multiple places. I guess just to add a perspective or a different lens, I'd say being yes men and yes women. It was right there on my brain, y'all. Oh, this happens every time. Oh Lord.
It's okay. We see you.
Check the private channel. You can get a chance.
We see you, and we are praying that you make it through this segment right now. We are praying and holding hands right now, because if you slow down in between two words one more time, we just gonna say good night. We just gonna cut it off.
Wow.
And my fault. I thought it was
wow. We were talking about being intentional about what we say. So I'm taking my time as I speak so that I can make sure what I'm saying is correct.
There you go.
No, but seriously, I think it comes from, I really do think that it comes from a source of pain, I would say. When I think about that, I think about like just the things that we've had to just go through, like so much pain, so much just traumas, and all this negative energy that we've had to like experience. All these experiences, we have a lot of negative experiences, and so we, like, I think Maury Daoud was saying, we want to feel good. right? And I think a lot of us are saying that we want to feel good. And I think that does stem from not really feeling good most of the time. I think that's just one way. But I think what all of you guys are saying is also a part of that. And that's all I got.
She said
I hope
that's
it
all.
wasn't too
And I
long
just
winded.
kept the more Zakaya yawn. She was like, that's all I got. All right, y'all. Look, I'm about to get ready to close us out. Does anyone have anything? Told out for that more. Anyone has anything else? We're gonna close out. We're gonna end with my people rising because after all this, we gotta bring some chipperness, put that, make sure that people know we're gonna rise from all this. But did anyone have anything else to say? Y'all look like y'all want to say something. Y'all good.
Yes, because Maisha, I'm not gonna say it unless you are gonna come off mic and say what you put in chat. No, I got you. She's gonna smile. Okay, be pretty. All right. Also, the way that we never get recognition or support in anything we do unless we jump on the bandwagon of yes. That's what Mark Kayelia spoke about, and I do agree. Typically, those who go against the grain don't get supported until their wave is big enough to overpower that which was false. And so, I mean, that's just typically how it goes. And from our literature, even before the literature on up, which goes to people's confidence and trust in the Most High. As Akaria was speaking on earlier, that goes toward the pain and the lack of love that we received here and during this time period. So right now, we just want to hear good stories. We just want to be entertained. We want to be at ease where we have been beaten entirely too much. And right now that's kind of what's pushing the pushing our society, or at least our community, in the direction that it's going. Yeah, so to just add on to what Segula was speaking, just to bring that out. Back to you, sir.
All right, you all. We're gonna go ahead and close out. Is she you done? More Ama, you closed out with your words. More Zakaria, did you have anything? You look like you malfunctioning too right now. So we gonna go ahead and I'm gonna read Psalms 101, verses 1-8. It says, I sang of love. This is I'm reading from the TS 2009 with all the scriptures. I sang of loving commitment and right ruling to you. Oh yeah, I sing praises. I act wisely in a perfect way. When do you come to me? I walk in the midst of my house with a perfect heart. I set no matter of Belial, right, before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It does not cleave to me. A perverse heart turns away from me. I do not know evil. Him who secretly slanders his neighbor, remember that lax of words we was talking about? Neighbor, I cut off. Now this him talking. This ain't the Most High. I cut off. I do not tolerate one who has a haughty look and a proud heart. My eyes are on the trustworthy of the land to dwell with me. He who walks in a perfect way, he serves me. He who practices deceit does not dwell in my house. He who speaks lies does not stand in my presence. Each morning I uproot all the wrong of the land to cut off all the workers of wickedness from the city of Yah. Now, it's steps to get to this. Actually, it's really not. We could choose to do it or not do it, but it is steps for some people, right? For most people, because I always teach us a remnant of us that truly have that love and that in the manner of which the Most High want, that tamim, which is this perfect being spoken about, and then the shalem, which is being perfect in heart, because now your works towards the Most High, your thought is towards the Most High. That's that shalem. That tamim is being blameless, perfect, blameless. You can find that in the Tanakh. You can find that in the New Testament. The top mean, the perfect, the blameless is literally, people are always going to find fault with you. And I think that most of us, we fall into that fault of what others have in us. So we don't believe ourselves, especially those that's truly serving the Most High, we don't believe ourselves to be Tamim. How can we believe in this book when we say today, no one is perfect today? But throughout our entire Tanakh, there are countless people that are blameless. It's over and done with back then? Or is this here today? We're afraid of that word. We're afraid of doing these things that we're reading. He's telling us what to do. It's up to us to do it. And right here, he's literally expressing. And some will say, matter of fact, who wrote Psalms 101, you all? From your understanding. I'm waiting on them, though. I want to see who's going to say who wrote Psalms 101. It's the reason I'm going here. No right or wrong answer. I just want to know y'all thoughts. Who y'all think wrote? Who is it attributed to?
Sounds like King David, because he says I cut him off, and we know how he was. So,
all right, cool. So let's say it's Dawe, right? You would have people that are arguing and say, man, that man was bogus. He did this and that, which he did, right? Scripture said that he was right. He did all things right in the eyes of the Most High, outside of the matter dealing with Uriah the Hittite, right? And then once he did that, which I'm not promoting anybody to do that, please don't do that. You ain't no king. And you shouldn't do that if you was a king. That shalem part of him, the repenting from what you do and going forward and not going into that anymore is what puts you in that place, right? But here, I have to do my research on here when he said this particular one, because we know before that moment, he was deemed a certain way. And then after that moment, he was deemed a certain way. But within that moment, he was deemed the way that we don't want to be deemed. All right. So I'm going to end with that. Toda for that, Geber, Joanna. Definitely. Any thoughts, you all? We're about to close out. Any thoughts? Any last words to what I just read? No thoughts? Y'all ready to go? She has one more thing to say.
So the last thing that I would say would be, because every time we have these sessions, is learning lessons for me as well. And I would just say, see how we can apply this and see how we all can glean from it. If we know we have some habits of over exaggerating, then we need to calm it down and just learn how to be honest with each other, because I believe that none of us here would have a desire to hurt anyone's feelings, but just also whatever the Most High gives us to be honest towards one another, something that we might need to work on, that we have to have the courage and not be afraid to offend one another, because I believe we're always going to talk in love, and you can correct in love. You don't have to, hey, you heathen, or hey, you this. It doesn't have to be that. So just whatever way we can apply this to our daily lives. I know I'm going to strive to do it. Say who?
All right. Toda Rabbi, Ishti. We're about to go ahead and close out because everybody look like they just like if they don't stop talking. We're going to close out with some music. Everybody get up, dance, so the whole audience will see y'all dancing to this song. This is My People Rising. This is me and my Isha. If y'all ain't got the album, make sure y'all get it after Shabbat or whatever. You could subscribe to the channel, share, like. Make sure if you want to donate to the ministry, you can too. I'm going to go. He's scratching his head. We're going to play it out.
that dream is green. And I don't mean material things. Freedom to the land, to woman and man, as we take up for what we stand. Better days and better nights, as we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better sheet, get our houses in order and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we wanna see.
I see
that
my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple big niggas cross America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the
I
sake
see
of
my
us.
people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion niggas cross America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more feeling, telling me beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight